Thank you for joining us tonight. We are now with me, Shel Shaminato, for TVS Nightline. As always, we begin with the headlines. Well, there are those who are still in doubt to follow the COVID-19 immunization program. However, our frontliners are among the first ready recipients.
According to a teacher from Paun Temaga National School, Sofina Liting Yoab, as an educator, she is ready to receive the vaccine as she believes these are one of the initiatives she could take as a preparation for physical classes in school.
Saya berpendapat bahawa program pemvaksinan COVID-19 ini adalah satu cara yang baik. Tentu sekali saya menerima program pemvaksinan ini untuk mempersiapkan diri saya apabila sesi persekolahan dibuka kelak. Dan selain itu, rasanya program ini dapat membantu menghalang penularan penyakit ini.
In line with Safina, a medical officer, Franco Joseph, commented that the vaccine will help in curbing the spread of COVID-19.
Saya berpendapat bahawa program vaksinasi COVID-19 kebangsaan merupakan satu inisiatif kerajaan yang cukup bagus untuk kita rakyat Malaysia. Sekiranya kita menerima vaksin tersebut, ianya akan menghasilkan imuniti di dalam badan kita. Jadi kepada orang ramai, marilah kita bersama-sama menerima vaksin tersebut agar ia dapat membantu untuk mengurangkan penularan sekaligus memutuskan rantaian COVID-19 di negara kita.
Following the next update as the groundbreaking ceremony for Batang Lupar Bridge in Sibuyau, located 11 kilometers from Kuching, which is scheduled this Thursday, has been postponed.
According to Sarawak Public Works Department JKR, the decision was made as an early precautionary measure to control the COVID-19 situation and as compliance of standard operating procedures set by the Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee. When complete, the bridge, with an allocation of 848 million ringgit, it will replace ferry services to cross the Batang Lupar River from Sibuyau to Triso. The initial cost of the project is estimated to be 1 billion ringgit. However, it is successfully reduced to 848 million ringgit with full funding from the state government. Meanwhile, for Minister of Infrastructure and Development of Sarawak, Dato' Julaihi Narawi, the 7-kilometer bridge will be the longest bridge in Malaysia.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin launched the National COVID-19 Immunisation Program Handbook today. The handbook details the largest vaccination program to be implemented in Malaysia to date.
The handbook, which is available through the COVID-19 Vaccine Supply Access Guarantee Committee's official website at vaccinecovid.gov.my. The website provides an overview of the steps in the entire vaccination process, from registration to post-inoculation observation. The handbook also contains the ways one can register for vaccination through the MySejahtera application, the Vaccine COVID website, a hotline outreach programs, and at both private or government medical facilities. For those who register through the MySejahtera application or through the website, they will be notified of an appointment date once their registration is logged. They will also be notified of the hospital at which the vaccine will be administered. For those who would like to register for the vaccine manually, one can either call into their hotline, head to the nearest government clinic, or register through outreach programs. Once registered, said individual will receive their appointment dates via SMS. Location will be updated from time to time, according to the handbook. Registration for vaccination is expected to kick off in March and will be on a voluntary basis.
Some good news as the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine will arrive in the country this Sunday. The rollout for implementation of the National COVID-19 Immunisation Program will begin in phases from February 26.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said he would get vaccinated on the first day of the program's implementation together with the frontliners. Muhyiddin said the first phase of the program, which runs until April, is reserved for frontliners. He added the second phase, which will run from April until August, will prioritize high-risk groups such as the elderly. The third phase, which will start from May this year till February next year, will cater to those aged 18 and above. Muhyiddin said the implementations of the comprehensive immunization program is to ensure herd immunity can be formed in the community. He further said this is aimed at breaking the chain of COVID-19 infections and finally end the COVID-19 pandemic.
Ringkasnya, vaksinasi amat penting untuk kita melindungi bukan saja diri sendiri, tetapi juga yang tersayang, iaitu ahli keluarga, rakan kerja, jiran sekeliling, dan seluruh komuniti. Inilah juga maksud slogan program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan yang saya perkenalkan secara rasmi hari ini, iaitu lindung diri, lindung semua.
The Prime Minister said if the national COVID-19 immunisation program is successfully implemented, it will have a positive impact. One of it, he said, is enabling the economic and tourism sectors to reopen.
Apabila semua orang telah dilindungi dan program imunisasi COVID-19 kebangsaan ini berjaya dilaksanakan, impak positif akan mula kita rasai, insya-Allah. Pelbagai sektor ekonomi akan dibuka semula, seperti pelancongan. Kita boleh saling menziarahi, aktiviti sukan juga boleh kita amalkan, tetapi dengan mengamalkan norma baru. Inilah yang saya maksudkan apabila saya katakan bahawa vaksin COVID-19 adalah antara sinar harapan kita yang paling utama untuk kita menang dalam perang melawan COVID-19 ini.
Right. Now, there is no shortcut for COVID-19 vaccines to enter the Malaysian market. It is subjected to strict conditions to ensure that it is safe, effective, and of quality.
Malaysian Pharmacy Society said COVID-19 vaccines that are registered in other countries must be approved by the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Agency. Its president Amrahi Buang said the vaccines have to go through a process which was required for other vaccines that had entered the Malaysian market. Amrahi said the vaccine will go through the preclinical phases 1, 2 and 3. On some quarters having skepticism, Amrahi said the matter had been explained by the Minister of Religious Affairs in the Prime Minister's department. He said the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine did not contain ingredients from animal sources. Amrahi said the vaccine had been used in Indonesia and was declared halal by the Indonesian Ulama Council.
As we dive into the local industry, as local traditional and modern entrepreneurial products are potentially able to penetrate the international market, provided there exists a marketing platform and production of materials that are in line with current tastes and trends. Let's hear more about it.
There is no harm in dreaming big. Right now, rural residents are marketing their products in the urban areas, but sooner or later, they could aim to reach the global stage. Batang Assemblyman Razali Gapur has prepared an economic centre for the purpose of economic activities.
Dan kita juga telah menyediakan pusat ekonomi, iaitu pusat mereka menjalankan aktiviti ekonomi seperti pemrosesan hasil pertanian seperti keripik, kuih-muih dan termasuk kerap tangan dan sebagainya.
Hamsa Aro, a snack chips entrepreneur hailing from Kampong Sepinang Pusat, started her business in 2011, making chips for her family and friends to enjoy. Little did she know, the demand for her chips would skyrocket.
Mula-mula kami mula biasa je lah, kita makan je. Dah bila kami bagi-bagi dengan kawan nak masuk ada minat lah. Jadi minta sidak kedai, lu kami hantar di kedai.
In Kampong Sepinang Pisa, chips are not the only product being sold. Coconut oil and handicrafts made from recycled materials such as metal are also being marketed. What is interesting is that the handicraft from recycled materials showcases the locals' creativity, as these sculptures come in the form of shrimps, crabs, grasshoppers, mosquitoes, seahorses, and more.
Dia tu sebenarnya mula-mula kami bukan sekadar nak bola satu lah. Mula-mula kami jual besi buku, daripada besi buku dijual harganya berapa sangat. Jadi kami cobalah dengan idea sama dengan adik kami bola idea aja.
The exposure provided for these local entrepreneurs have also given them the push needed for them to create higher quality products that will not only improve their incomes, but also attract foreign tourists to visit. It is also the hope of the rural folks that their products continue to be in demand in all four corners of the nation.
Rancangan kami, ialah tak inginlah kami nak mesagi pasaran kepek kami ke tempat-tempat yang nak tu macam di Kuching ke apa kan sekiranya ada orang nak nempah apa-apa lah.
Harapan kami, kalau bolehlah kami nak majukan sikit usaha tu daripada bersih dibuang bagus kita bola macam tu macam perhiasan. Kalau boleh kita nak perluaskan lagi produk macam tu.
The Sarawak state government has expressed hope that rural entrepreneurs aim a little higher by marketing their products to the whole world.
Back to the Nightline with the COVID-19 development as Sarawak recorded 193 new COVID-19 positive cases and 1 fatality. The latest fatality was recorded in Cebu, bringing the state's death toll from COVID-19 to 62.
As for the new positive cases, Cebu recorded the highest with 105 cases detected. This is followed by Samarahan with 19 cases, Kuching with 17 and Kapit with 12. The number of positive cases in the state now stands at 7,025. Meanwhile, the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee said Samarahan district has now changed from an orange zone to a red zone. 57 local transmissions were reported in that district in the last 14 days. Meanwhile, Kuching district had changed to an orange zone from a yellow zone. A total of 28 local transmissions were reported in the district in the last 14 days. In a shocking development, the State Health Department declared 6 new COVID-19 clusters today. This brings the total number of active clusters in Sarawak to 21. Cebu recorded 2 new clusters dubbed the Gorongang Cluster and Mas Merah Cluster. The other clusters are Univista Cluster in Samarahan, Kampong Sungai Maung Cluster in Kuching, Gelong Cluster in Kapit, and Kindurong Dua Cluster in Bintulu. The largest of the new clusters is the Univista Cluster in Samarahan. The cluster involved 3 localities, namely Kampong Muara Tuang, Taman Univista, and Aman Semaraks.
Meanwhile, Malaysia recorded 8 deaths, making the cumulative total death toll to 893 cases.
At the same time, as many as 2,720 new COVID-19 cases were recorded, making the cumulative total cases in the country to 269,165 cases. According to Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, all the new cases were local infections. There were no imported cases recorded within 24 hours. On Tuesday, there were as many as 5,718 recovered cases. Meanwhile, according to the Health Minister, 19 new clusters were detected.
On to the next update, as the government has provided 5 online and manual registration methods for the public to get the COVID-19 vaccination.
According to the National COVID-19 Immunisation Program Handbook published by the COVID-19 Vaccine Supply Access Guarantee Special Committee, JKJAV, 2 online methods are through the MySejahtera application and the special website at www.vaccinecovid.gov.my. There are 3 methods for manual registration, namely by contacting the hotline, which will be informed later, visiting the public and private health clinics, or through outreach programs for residents in rural and remote areas. The handbook also explained that the vaccination process for those who register online or manually is the same, which includes 18 steps. However, for individuals who are receiving the 1 dose of vaccine, the vaccination process will end on step 9 and digital COVID-19 immunization certificate will be given. Meanwhile, according to Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Khairi Jamaluddin, as many as 312,390 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine will be received in the first transport to Malaysia on February 21st.
Meanwhile, the Companies Commission of Malaysia, or SSM, is targeting 30,000 entrepreneurs to participate in the Scheme Pendaftaran Perniagaan Prihatin, or SPPP, throughout the year 2021. Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPDN HEP, Datuk Seri Alexander Nandalinggi said SSM had made improvements to SPP by expanding it to include all the B40 entrepreneurs.
Since it was established on 23rd December 2020, 180,000 individuals had ventured into the business field. Alexander added the agency under the ministry was emphasizing the facilitations of businesses through the corporations of various related parties. Currently, SPPP provides free registration to B40 groups for those who wish to start a business, including those who have never registered a business. This scheme enables traders to acquire various funds and loans introduced by the government for the continuations of their business operations. Alexander added, SPPP was no longer limited to entrepreneurs among the youth, B40 single mothers and students only, but also all prospective B40 entrepreneurs. Eligible applicants can submit their applications online through the EasyBiz online portal at easybiz.ssm.com.my.
At the same time, Sijil Pelajar Malaysia, or commonly known as SPM 2020 candidates, need not worry, as the format for the public examination remains and cannot be changed. The Education Ministry's Examination Syndicate said it would take a minimum of 3 years and potentially up to 5 years of research for any change to be made.
Its director, Dato' Pikarudin Ghazali, said this was because the standard of SPM certificates issued is recognized by all parties, including international experts. Previously, the Examination Syndicate stressed that there would be no changes to this year's SPM examination format, thus denying a newspaper report related to purported changes in the SPM examination format in the future. Meanwhile, Pikarudin said that SPM candidates who are tested positive for COVID-19 or quarantined would not be allowed to sit for the examination. He said these two groups of candidates cannot sit for the examination, but they will be allowed to reschedule the examination. A total of 401,105 candidates will sit for the SPM examination from February 22nd to March 25th.
Now, residents living around a landslide area in Taman Buloh, Kilometer 5, Jalan Bukit Goram Kapit, were advised to use an alternative road. This was to avoid any unwanted incident from happening.
According to Kapit Fire and Rescue Station Chief Erwandin Tugor, his team had installed canvases and barriers while waiting for the road to be repaired. He added a total of 8 houses were affected by the landslide.
Pejabat daerah dan juga YB telah bersetujulah untuk memasukkan pembaikan kepada tanah runtuh ni dalam RTP tahun 2021. Jadi mungkin disebabkan oleh peralihan tahun. Jadi benda itu masih dalam orang cakap tengah diusahakan untuk pembaikan itulah. Jadi pada 16 Februari 2021 lah, iaitu hari ini. Jadi kami telah mendapat arahan daripada pejabat daerah lah untuk membantu memasang canvas bagi menahan hujan lah, untuk menyelamatkan daripada tanah itu terus mengalami susuh.
The recommendation to use alternative roads was issued by his team because the road now was impassable by vehicles.
Welcome back. A good news on our local talent, as Sarawakian singer and musician Alina Murang, who had just won an international award in Argentina last November, is coming up with another project, Road to Our Heritage, to promote Sarawak and Sabah traditional music, and her latest effort has not gone unnoticed.
Sarawak Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Dato' Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah said the project would be the first of its kind undertaken by Alina and her friends from the 2 East Malaysia states, which would involve 3 music albums and a TV documentary series to be aired on RTM soon. Among the interesting features of this project would be in-depth interviews with music craftsmen, which would lead to the discovery of local traditional cultures and scenic locations that could be found in Sarawak. Karim added, the collaboration between Alina and Roth Project's research partner, Dr. Nadia Widiawati Madzi from Faculty of Music at University Technology Mara, UITM, will ensure the history of traditional musical instruments and their producers will be well documented for future educational references and archives. Alina and her friends also utilize digital platforms to send messages across to the communities on the need to preserve and promote native traditional music, including the craftsmen who help to conserve such intangible heritage.
Meanwhile, Post Malaysia Berhad has introduced a new online insurance platform. The applications will allow customers to renew their motor vehicle insurance anytime and anywhere through the Post Malaysia mobile app.
Post Malaysia in a statement said customers only need to provide their MyCard number, car registration number and other required information. Customers will receive their insurance premium code and the insurance policy via email after completing their payment online. Group Head of Channel Management and Customer Experience, Asmil Marikan, said Post Malaysia is actively modernizing its retail services through digitalization. He said this will make transactions available both online and over the counter. In addition, Asmil said customers can look forward to more services from the Post Malaysia mobile app. It includes financing, wasiat, remittance and others. Post Malaysia said digitalization and innovation will be embraced as part of the customer's digital ecosystem and business value chain. The Post Malaysia mobile app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store for Android, Apple App Store for iOS and Huawei App Gallery.
On to the local sports update, as Sarawak United FC was reportedly planning to move a few matches of the Premier League home matches in Sarawak to West Malaysia this season. According to the President of the Football Association of Sarawak, Datuk Posa Majais, this is only a temporary solution as the COVID-19 situation in Sarawak has not yet subsided.
Lepas tu sekiranya keadaan PKP di Sarawak ni mungkin keadaan dah reda, kita akan main di sebagai home game kita main di Sarawak. Tapi jikalau keadaan ni masih seperti yang sekarang, jadi kemungkinan kita tak ada pilihan, kita terpaksa memilih mana-mana stadium di Semenanjung untuk home game.
Posa added, the decision to do so is meant to avoid the situation of every team entering Sarawak having to undergo the mandatory 14 days quarantine as stipulated by the Sarawak government. However, his team will refer back to the match schedule before making any decision. Last season, Sarawak United managed to attain a respectable 10th place in the Premier League standings with 11 points in total.
China has arrested the leader of a multi-million-dollar scam that passed out saline solution and mineral water as COVID-19 vaccines. The man, identified as Kong, had researched the packaging designs of real vaccines before making more than 58,000 of his own concoctions.
A batch of the vaccines were smuggled overseas, but it is not known where they were sent to. Kong is among 70 people who have been arrested for similar crimes. The arrests, involving more than 20 cases, came as Beijing vowed to crack down on fraudulent vaccines. Even though most of the cases surfaced late last year, new details were released this week. According to a court ruling, Kong and his team made a profit of $2.78 million by putting saline solution or mineral water in syringes and hawking them as COVID vaccines since August last year. A batch of 600 of these vaccines were sent to Hong Kong last November before they were shipped abroad. The sales were made on the basis the vaccines were acquired via internal channels of genuine manufacturers.
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight, here with me, Shel Shamina, and I'll see you next time. Have a good night.